Okay, now we're going to do the first of our academic hero videos. This is John Taylor Gatto. And also, just so you know where I'm coming from, most people sort of know me for nutrition and health and medicine and stuff, but I can let you know I've been interested in academic optimization for 40 years. Okay, and I've written a whole bunch of books, straight A at Stanford on to Harvard, about, succeeding at Ivy League type places in Stanford. Academic quotes in my holy grail of wisdom quotes, rhyme, rhetoric, and logic, how to write better. I've read like 300 books on how to write better. How to raise IQ and become a genius. This whole idea of a fixed IQ is absolute BS. A person can dramatically increase their academic performance and their IQ, academic IQ, just with training and personal philosophy and whatnot. So anyways, this guy, John Taylor Gatto, our academic hero for today, he lived from 1935 to 2018. He won the award as New York City Teacher of the Year 3 times. He was New York State Teacher of the Year. He's written several great books, like one of them is called Dumbing Us Down. Another one's called The Underground History of American Education. And what you do, like when you see one of these guys, is I recommend here, let me put my lights on here, is go to their like quote pages, any of these quote pages. Type in John Taylor Gatto. Go to the one, whichever is the best one. You'll find for yourself which one you like. And he's got tons of great quotes. I recommend read his books. There's some videos of him on the internet as well. And he's one of the best guys to help you really understand school. The difference between, you have to go through the so-called conventional education to get your degrees. And you will learn some useful stuff from it. But to really be well educated and to be good at thinking and all that, that comes from self-motivated learning. Okay, so here's a couple quotes from John Taylor Gatto. Role models. Imitation of notable role models as an effective spring of learning is the most ancient and effective motivation to learn. To want to be like somebody admirable. In general, the parents should be the first role model of a child. If the parents are the role model, they set a good example for the kid. Versus when kids have a celebrity athlete role model, usually the person's kind of a goof off with unrealistic life. So that's overrated. Whatever you want to be good at, find somebody who's already good at it and learn what you can from them. That's one of the fastest ways to learn. Okay, next quote from John Taylor Gatto. Self-directed learning and teaching is best. It's much more powerful than one-size-fits-all schooling. Modern kids are ahistorical. They should know about their ancestors, their own intellectual traditions. What ends up happening in modern schools, all the kids are the same age, and so they're all equally ignorant, and then they just become interested in their social clique, and that makes them even more ignorant because all they care about is their social relationships with each other of the same age, and everyone older than them they see as out of it, and so it really limits the kids. Ayn Rand's written great essays about that too. Compre Chicos was her essay. It's fantastic. Okay, John Taylor Gatto. Quality in education comes from learning something in depth. You're only going to put the effort in to really learn something well if you care about it. And that's the problem with school. They just give you a list of vocabulary words. You have to memorize it for the test. You forget it all a day after. And that's really largely a waste of time. I mean, you have to jump through the hoops to get your degrees, to get your grades. That's fine. But what I'm trying to say is really developing yourself intellectually makes a big difference. And I was a perfect example that I really read a lot and talked about a lot of stuff with my dad. And that really helped me. So when I went to Stanford, even though I never took an honors class in high school, and I started out way behind, I ended up feeling like I had a big advantage in other kids from all those long conversations I had with my dad and arguing with my dad and my uncle about books. That was tremendously useful to me. Okay, inventory your strengths and develop them to the pinnacle to serve the community. Find out what you're good at, what you like, and how to develop it, and that'll often bring you happiness and success. Okay, more quote from John Taylor Gatto. Deep learning should be based on the kid's goals. Yeah, like Johann von Wolfgang Goethe said. He said, in order to master a subject, a man must love it. Yeah, you have to like something to really dig deep into learning about it. Okay, free will students do much better than command-driven students. Yeah, that's an obvious fact when anybody who's really studied education. I've seen school teachers. The name of the book was called The Book Whisperer. This lady was a 6th grade teacher. She let the kids pick whatever book they want. A bunch of 6th graders in 1 year, they read like 60 books. Okay, in some other school where they're forced to read something they don't want to, they'll read like 3 books the whole year. And whatever kid reads the most on their own, those kids end up being the best students in the class. Okay. Next quote from John Taylor Gatto. The school bell is like Monty Python's. And now for something completely different. It suggests that nothing is important as that bell. By bells and many other similar techniques, the schools teach that nothing is worth finishing. The gross error of this is progressive. If nothing is worth finishing, then by extension, nothing is worth starting either. John Taylor Gatto. So that's true. It just conditions you to not care. You know you could never complete a meaningful project, so you just sit there, stare at the clock, and get it over with. It's a big waste of time. Regular school is very much overrated. And you'll see, if you're serious about learning, that pursuing something you're interested in, trying to really learn it well, that develops you intellectually. More John Taylor Gatto. Schooling comes from without. It's not connected to the immediate goals of the student. It keeps the kid dependent sort of on what the class is going to test about. Whereas true education comes from within. It's self-directed. It builds up the individual. It builds a confident, independent mind. It makes connections between things. It builds skills. And it helps the child to build their own powers and skills of observation. When you take the free will out of education, it turns into schooling. So again, a lot of times the teacher's just reading from a script that they're required to do so. The best teachers have more personality. They're more unique because they're actually trying to communicate directly to the kid, trying to help the kids. Trying to help the kids build themselves up rather than just like a horse race, who does the best on the test. Okay, John Taylor Gatto, next quote. Whatever an education is, it should make you a unique individual and not a conformist. It should furnish you with an original spirit with which you can tackle big challenges. It should allow you to find values that will be your roadmap through life. It should teach you what is important, how to live. Growth and mastery come only to those who vigorously self-direct, initiating, creating, doing, reflecting, freely associating, enjoying privacy. Precisely what the structures of schooling are set up to prevent on one pretext or another. So anyways, if you're interested in developing your own academic abilities and understanding school, John Taylor Gatto is a fantastic academic hero. You'll find studying his quotes and his books well worth your time. Hope that's helpful.